Well, hello there to my Scorpios. This is Queen Amun-Ra coming to you with your general reading. Scorpios! All right, let's do it. Let's go, Scorpios. Let's get into it. Scorpios. All right. Sending everybody lots of love and light. Thank you for supporting my channel. And that's for everybody, this entire community here, and how we support each other. So if you have a YouTube channel or anything like that, send me your information. Don't forget to share the actual link, because people are just sending me the name of their channel. Send me when you hit the share button, like when you go up in the from your page and hit those 3 buttons and to share, send me that link so I can follow you on and support your channel, so we can support each other, right? Some people are new to YouTube and they want to get their views and visits up, they want to get their follower count up and things like that. So I don't mind following my subscribers, but you got to send me share the whole link, not just the name of your channel. All right, let's get into it. The energy that I'm picking up for you is that you're on the rebirth side. You may have made an impulsive move before and walked away from something that you just felt like, okay, just in disbelief, but somebody is now learning that you have the gift of hindsight, not just foresight, but hindsight. Like now you're realizing you have eyes in the back of your head, and now you realize that you've always been a star. You've always been a star. Like no matter, ever since you can remember, people have something about you has stood out, and you don't have to be the only child. You recognize stars. Like in hindsight, somebody has now realized you had the gift of hindsight. Like, okay, I knew stars know how to stand. We're not talking about celebrity, just so we're crystal clear. I don't idolize human beings. But you'll know a star will stand out, because a star is like, okay, they already know who they are. They're not going to lower, they're just different. They're just different. They march to the beat of their own drum. So you're finding out what your zodiac sign is in your 11th house. You all rule 8th house, but you're realizing that stars can be overwhelming for people. Like for real, can literally drive people to drink, because they're not looking for stardom. They're not looking for celebrity. They're not looking for, they're going to stand out even if they put stars, just recognize stars. Even when people think that Scorpios are too intense, and y'all are an intense zodiac sign. Like y'all are emotionally, you're not gonna kind of like it's like if you make a creative decision, you're not gonna go back on it. You're like, no, I feel this so deep in my spirit. You're so passionate, it makes people think that you're obsessed with something. That's when you're star. Like these energies who, if you've ever gone to a concert and you've seen how meticulous and how some people, they will practice to get it right, and people are like, okay, it's fine, but they're obsessing over it because it's never good enough for them. Like it's never, and this is in any profession, any industry. When they feel like they want to master what they're doing, they were called to do something. So that's when a person has been called to something, because they've been called by source. They don't see it as just a job. They see it as like, okay, I want to get it right for everybody under the sun. It's almost like, okay, you're so happy and so glad that source called you to it. You just happy to you working for source. Like you're like, okay, not that you're saying forget human. You're just saying you're so happy that you working for source, the creator. You want to give it all back to source, like really. And we're not even talking about religion. We're talking about somebody's like, you're not afraid of people trying to expose your demons. You're not afraid if people said you were lustful or that you had some kind of addictions or whatever. You're not stopping. You're like, okay, you were called to do it. People out here doing shadow banning, doing all kinds of stuff, trying to dox you, trying to be copycat energies, whatever the case may be. You're so passionate, that creativity is just flowing. And so somebody is now realizing, hey, stars recognize stars. People who were born a star recognize people who are born a star. You're like, okay, you're gonna do what you're doing to death, like to life, to rebirth, to one rebirth after another, because you were called to do it. So you're truly, stars really embody cheerful givers to source, right? You're a cheerful giver to source, creator. Whoever you feel like created this, somebody gave you these gifts. You're like, okay, you're you're just going. Rebirth, like that creativity never stops wherever you are. You just go and go and go and go and go. You can't stop. It's like, okay, a person who is like, you're just passionate about creating. That's like you have the joy within you. You say you're so joyful, you're creating wherever you are. So this is a death card. So this is what somebody is starting to realize about self. This is what you're realizing about yourself. You're so passionate. That's how some people are passionate about law. Some people are passionate about medicine. Some people are passionate about reading cards. Some people are passionate about whatever they feel like they were called to do, because it's fine. It's like finally feeling like, okay, that's what all the stuff that happened to you in your life was all about. So it never ends. Like you feel like you always will have a job for source, for the creator. Versus, oh gosh, I hate my job. I got to go in on Monday and these people make me sick, and then you got to drive around the parking lot 20 times before you calm down, go get a cup of coffee and go get, oh, okay, I wonder, so just I got to, complaining. You're not complaining about working for source. You're like, okay, finally, you now know what all that other mess was about, right? So this is where somebody is. Somebody's on the rebirth side of something. So congratulations to you, whoever you are. Congratulations, you're on the rebirth side. Somebody can finally walk away from something, right? Because you're a creator, right? You're a star. You're born a star, right? And so here's the moon card. And something about your gifts are so overwhelming, it's not even funny. It's just really just not even funny. You're so passionate about something, it's just really not even funny. It's almost like somebody knows when to close out a cycle, and when to move on, right? So you're not looking at it as you're a god. You created a star, or you created stars. Your gifts are just so overwhelming for some people. They really cannot take it. They really cannot take, it's almost like people just become obsessed with you. They just got to see you. They got to be around you. They got to be in your energy, right? And so somebody could have walked away from the depth of emotion when it comes to compassion towards people. See, this is when you know, because like, let me explain something. So in my readings, I explain to people my calling is to take it down to the lowest frequency, which it'll seem negative to some people, right? But when I'm bringing it back up to a higher frequency, you can show compassion towards people and still enforce a boundary, right? They're going to always be people who are going to think, oh, this person was not compassionate towards me. This is why you don't want to jump on the bandwagon. Somebody's going to always think that you weren't compassionate towards somebody. You was cold spirit or whatever because you enforced a boundary. It really is what you're using your gifts for good, or are you using your gifts for evil, right? Some people you'll see online and you'll feel like, okay, yeah, they're talking about, because they're not necessarily speaking to a particular, they're speaking to a collective community, right? But let's say, for instance, I were to say there's a group of women that's in a coven who have been cold and heartless towards you. You've asked them for help for years and they did nothing except just throw acid on your name. Did everything they could do to get you to walk away from something. Guess what? There are a group of women who experience that, and they will be able to connect with you because guess what? They experienced that, right? Even if it's a woman, me, telling other women, walk away from these energies that are pouring, this coven, this gang, this pack of women who are trying to dim your light. Walk away from them. So there's women within that group that'll say, oh, that's coming from another woman. She has no compassion towards other women. Of course I do. I have an enormous amount of compassion, a depth of compassion towards other women. But I would not send somebody back into a lion's den, even if it was the same gender. And you sitting there crying and these women just want you to bow down to them. No, no way in the world I would do that. Overstepping boundaries. So some energies have been, whether you're a man or woman, it doesn't even really matter. Some other women have been, like I said, using your fear, or men or women have been using your fear, against you. They feel like, okay, this person, they create this, we're going to keep them out of the circle. We're going to keep them out of the circle. But what they do, depending on what your zodiac sign is, if it's air, they're astral projecting, right? you know, through your dreams, downloading, sending stuff to the air, through the air, whether it's on the airwaves, you know, or you had to be at a particular frequency. You're watching stuff on social media. They want you out of the circle so they can control what's in the circle. You're dealing with God complex energies, or they're appealing to your emotions. If you're a water sign, appealing to your emotions, right? And so somebody is saying basically you're not compassionate at all. Basically, like, but you're dealing with toxic feminine energy. You got to know the difference between toxic masculine and toxic feminine. Whoever does not want you to enforce a boundary is toxic. Okay? They don't want you to enforce a boundary. It's toxic. They'd rather show a mirror to you and say what your demons are versus looking at their own demons. And everybody has temptations, but they don't want you to enforce a boundary. So what you're watching is somebody who is another Scorpio who's experiencing their own karma, toxic feminine energy. So you could be a high vibrating Scorpio, right? But you're watching somebody who is, like I said before, doesn't want you to enforce boundaries. So if you enforce boundaries, then something's wrong with you. They don't even want you to speak about enforcing boundaries, no matter how balanced out you are. And I feel like somebody is balanced out. Somebody is just built strong. This is you. You're built very strong. You're built tough. Your North Node even can be in Scorpio, and your South, that would make your South Node Taurus. So somebody could come from a very strong foundation and still in your North Node let people overstep their boundaries. And the moment you start overstepping boundaries, what do? They go in and try to end you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. That's when you know you're dealing with a low vibrating Scorpio. Somebody who feels like you should be able to take as much as they should be able to take. High vibrating Scorpio is like, no, I don't care what people think. I'm enforcing a boundary. That's a high vibrating Scorpio. I'm passionate about what I do. I get it. But a low vibrating Scorpio will try to end you. They will work on ending you by any means necessary. And they will do it to death. Literally, that's why their card is a death card, with that one sting. Get you caught up in all kinds of stuff, right? You just like you've been stung by a venomous snake. But a high vibrating Scorpio is like, no, I get creativity. Creativity seems like it's chaotic and confusing until you contain it. That Scorpio will be the Scorpio that will teach you, hey, let me teach you how to contain something. Let me really teach you. And so what you've experienced is a Scorpio who is getting their karma. That's who you are. You're seeing a Scorpio has gotten their karma because they let people cross way too many lines in the lustful department, restricting people, and whatever, like whatever the devil card means, lust, restrictions, fear, by causing people to be fearful of them, overstepping boundaries in the lust department, and restricting people by any means necessary, filming people, using it against them, all this craziness. And so sources say, but a star always recognizes a star, and they respect the star. They like, okay, this person is standing on business, and I respect them. Okay, we may not agree with the same thing, but I respect them. That's why you have some people that you, if I had to say celebrity, which again, I don't idolize human beings. That's why you can respect some people. You may not agree with all their views and stuff, but you can still listen to their music. You can still, follow them as an artist. You can still, unless something gets so way outlandish, you're like, okay, all right, they taking something too far now. Like, okay, but that's still your decision. And that's what I'm seeing here in your cards. You're on the rebirth side. And fixed signs, I'm going to say Scorpios because you're a fixed sign. I'm going to say Scorpios. You rather somebody just pick a side. All that flip-flopping back and forth, nah. Somebody feels very, very fortunate with people who can just pick a side, right? Pick a side. Be with what side you on, right? Regardless of how it's moving your numbers. You're picking a side, okay, you're firm in what you do. And so some people, they just go along with any flow. They just whatever. They just all over the place. And so you're starting to recognize a star. You're starting to recognize a star. So, and so now you're walking away from a depth of emotions when it comes to some things, right? Somebody's also, they're growing. Something is growing with someone, like in terms of their gifts are really, really growing, right? And so you're going to have somebody out here that's getting their karma because they were impulsive with you in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? And so Source is saying you can walk away. I always tell people, like, karma always comes back. And people think, okay, well, this person is weak because they walked away from something. You know, they weak, no, but you're a prayer warrior. Looking at your cards here, you didn't walk away from anything that you created. You're a prayer warrior. You just trust Source. You just really, really trust Source. There's still going to be some people who are trying to astral project. There's still some people on the lower astral planes. They're still trying, like I said, your protecting your spiritual fingerprint. There's still some people who will try to enter into your energy field, and that's why your auric layers, and they'll try to penetrate your auric layers because they feel like, okay, that's over. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. But the way that Source, those are people who have a God complex because they've already written you off. They've already written other people off. But the way that Source will bless you, because I'm saying somebody's about to make a fortune here, because you rolled the dice and you said, okay, your creativity cannot be stopped because you got to create, you know how to tap into your gifts. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're learning how to tap into your gifts. And your gifts are overwhelming for some people. Your gifts are overwhelming for some people. They can't really handle it. I'm a magnet for brilliant ideas, right? So it doesn't really matter where Scorpio is in your birth chart. Find out what your zodiac. Scorpio just happens to rule 8th house, but that may not be your sign in your 8th house. So please go look at your birth chart. Find out where Scorpio is in your birth chart, and then also find out what your zodiac sign is in your 8th house. Some people don't want people to be fair towards people at all. They just want people to just let them just cross over any kind of boundary. But when you start enforcing boundaries, you let people know up front, hey, listen, you're building some kind of something traditional. You're enforcing boundaries, but you can still be passionate about it. It's like you put your water in a container. You put your water in a container on the rebirth side. It's like you've done this spiritual cleanse, and you put your fresh water in a container now, versus a Scorpio who keeps having people drink dirty water, right? So I'm seeing here, you're teaching people how to, in a lot of sense, you're teaching people how to really be able to walk away from the depth of emotions. You know, like everything is just like, it's so intense and so overwhelming for them. You're teaching people, it may come across as cold hard, and it may be a big hard pill for some people to swallow. But again, it's not that you're not compassionate. When people overstep boundaries, that's when you got to enforce it. That's when you say, okay, I got to end it. A boundary was overstepped. I got to end it. And some people will be like, oh, that person's so cold-hearted, so such a... But you're teaching people how to stay out of your business. You're teaching people how to stay out of your business. You're a magnet for brilliant ideas. People know stars when they meet them, because they're looking right at themselves. They're mirroring themselves. They know people who are just like, oh, they ain't put up, you overstepped the boundary. You out of here. Goodbye. So that's what I'm seeing for you all. This is nice when I look at your cards here, because you're actually being able to discern the difference between the frequencies that other Scorpios are on. That's what I'm seeing for you. So you know a star when you see one. First red flag, pray and meditate. Yep, first red flag, pray and meditate. Yeah, so the angel and the prophecy of wisdom is with you. Yeah, so your next love interest will make you happier. Look at you. Okay, so somebody is getting to a new love interest. Your laughter is medicine for real, because you'll be able to tell the difference between a Scorpio that's on your... And this is where people need to get away from, I don't like this zodiac sign, I don't like that zodiac sign, I can't stand this and that. Really what you're saying is that you were on a particular frequency, you met somebody else that's on a particular frequency, because they can't represent all whatever their zodiac sign is, just like you can't represent all Scorpios. Like, there's no way. You know, somebody judging a Scorpio by their interaction with you, they may give other Scorpios a pass because you may say they may have had a great experience with you. But imagine if they had a horrible experience with you and it was so traumatic for them, they just said, oh no, I don't like Scorpios. All of them? Like, they would be robbing themselves of getting promotions in the workplace. They'd be robbing themselves of a whole lot of things, of just saying they don't like all Scorpios because all Scorpios are one way. That don't even sound right. Like, what? You don't like all Scorpios because one person hurt you? Okay, that sounds like therapy. That sounds like really somebody, and I'm being very sensitive to people's emo, because people have gone through some serious things with some Scorpios, and that's being compassionate towards people. Like, listen, you can't blame all Scorpios because one Scorpio hurt you. Like, come on now, let's be realistic here. That's what you're learning. That's what you are learning. Just like you're not judging all zodiac signs just because you may have felt like you were hurt by one zodiac sign. You're like, nah, hey, you star recognize star. So there are signs all around you. Signs all around you. So check your request list, right? Adjust your crown. Somebody could have made some kind of impulsive situation. A toxic masculine could have made an impulsive decision and about something, and you could have been, you may not have had a spiritual detox, and somebody could have caught you when you were in a very toxic space. Somebody could have caught you when you're in a very toxic space. So toss something into a burning bowl. But you're leaving some energies behind. You're leaving some energy behind. Somebody's still telling lies about your child, but you don't care. For real. I mean, caring, sharing is caring. You're not even going to share it with somebody else who's still telling lies about you, because why would you contaminate their ear gate and eye gate? The curse is now broken. Curse is now broken. Take a leap of faith. So I love this for you also. Your gifts have increased. Oh, look, right? So your spiritual gifts have increased. And so your ancestors are so proud of you, because you never stopped creating. Somebody just really needed to just do a purge, a spiritual purge of all the toxins that were in your spirit. You just needed to do a spiritual purge. And I'm telling you, your creativity is about to be on 1,000,000. Forget 1,000 or 100. It's about to be on 1,000,000, because that's the depth of emotion of stuff. It's about to overwhelm people. Like, they just won't be like, how you know this, how you know that? Because stars recognize stars. People is like, you're gonna shine regardless. Somebody could put a potato sack over your head and people will shining up under that. So back straight and walk away. Yep. Create the change that you want. Drink more water as self-care. Yep. Step through the portal. Yeah. So yeah, what I say, y'all? You was born a star. When I would hear people say they don't like this zodiac sign and don't like that, I was like, don't be contaminating me, child. I don't have any issues with any zodiac signs. None. You can say any zodiac sign. My mind may go to somebody who hurt me in the past, or said I hurt them, vice versa. But am I gonna block my blessings because somebody I can't think of a zodiac sign. Not for real. Not even if somebody was claiming Ophiuchus. So I definitely feel like somebody is definitely doing a major purge here, a major spiritual purge, because you're not gonna mess up the brilliance that Source put inside of you, blocking your blessings because you feel like somebody. I just can't see it, Scorpios. I can't. So if somebody's sitting around still telling lies about you, hey, they lying to themselves. So yeah, you got your closure right there. People just don't give people, like when I hear people say, oh my God, I saw an interview the other day of somebody I met personally, and it was interesting that they would make such a harsh statement about a particular celebrity because they are also considered a celebrity themselves, and I've personally met them. So y'all know I'm not doing no name dropping. And what they said about the celebrity, I'm telling y'all, as clear as I'm reading these cards right here, I felt the same way about them when I met them. And I met them when I was a teenager. So that was a long time ago, right? I met them when I was a teenager. And I was like, oh, wow, right? As of course it's a teenager, but now in my adult mind, I'm like, okay, they could have just been having a bad day. But it was disappointing, right? It was disappointing. But it's interesting that they would put that on social media and name drop that energy, almost like dropping, hopping on a bandwagon. And I can't, this particular celebrity that they were talking about, you never really hear them respond to negative things said about them, they're smart enough not to give it any energy whatsoever. Yeah, so fertility, you are fertile in what you see. We're coming up on a corn moon, it's harvest moon, right? So adjust your crown, adjust your crown. Ain't no way in the world I'm getting online publicly and be bashing somebody publicly. See, if you were to give people their flowers, you don't have to mention names. They'll know because you gave them their flowers in their face. There's some people, if you say anything, you take it down to, like I could tell on my readings here, take it down to the lowest of low frequency to help shine a light, like a lighthouse, to shine a light to say, hey, look, just checking to see if everybody ready to go back up to a higher frequency. Some people will label you as being negative because you don't want to forget the people because people have written off. You never write people off, not as long as they are alive. Listen, too many people are dying with books in them. Too many people are dying with their purpose in them because they're too afraid of people saying that they're being negative or they're cold-hearted because they decided to enforce a boundary. Forget all of that. You're not dying with a book in you, a song in you, a purpose in you. You're not doing that. So you're fertile in what you see. So yeah, so that's what I'm seeing here in your cards. Congratulations to you all, for real. Congratulations to your ancestors. They're so proud of you, they don't even know what to do. If you could see them in physical form right now, they would probably cry happy tears because you were born for whatever, you were just born creative. And you have separated yourself. Light Scorpios have separated themselves from dark Scorpios. You separated yourself. You're like, nah, you ain't. Yeah, so outrageous openness. Look at you. Dear Lord, open me to you.